Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Magnetic Goddess podcast. I'm your host, Amy Lee Westervelt. Today I have an awesome guest for you guys. I know you say I say that all the time, and I probably do, but here's a differentiator with this gal, okay? Lorraine Davies is here with me. She's a personal transformation and energy mastery mentor, and that's all good and plenty. But what I love the most about this lady is her energy. She is the type of person that you just want to talk to all day, every day. She feels to me like a warm blanket, like somebody I just want to sit next to on the couch and like read my magazine and she reads her magazine and we parallel play. You guys are going to freaking love her. And on top of her incredible energy, one of the other things I love about her, she is so brilliant. And she prescribes to the same goddess to goddess energy that I do. The idea that everybody is divinity in their own right. And I love her so much. And you guys are going to love her too. So welcome, Lorraine, to the show. So good to have you. You are you help heart-led female leaders, light workers, and visionaries overcome their limits, access their potential, and accelerate their results through self-inquiry, personal energetics, and might I add, an incredible personality.
Oh, bless you, darling. I am literally thrilled to be with you today. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So I love it when I get to talk to people who are from the UK because I get to say things like, so how is it that you became a personal transformation and energy mastery mentor after or before, going to university? Because we don't say that in the US.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, university.
A
Oh,
little
so
thing.
I know sometimes it is the little things, isn't it? So like I had a really like an interesting path into what it is that I do now. So I actually was a so you obviously use college in a different kind of term to how we use it. So I actually used to be a college lecturer. So I used to teach 16 to 19-year-olds musical theatre. So that is where I came from. So a completely different path to what it is that I do now. And I from there I found myself in 2011 like really stressed out, really burnt out, like not living my best life. I was in my early 20s and I was looking for something. And when you are open to possibilities and you are like, I don't know what it is, but something is like something has to come. It's like, please help me. Something different has to arrive in my life. And I actually then fell into network marketing. So my first like foray in business, right? Yeah, I know, Amy, like I love that. so network marketing is how I fell into business. And oh my goodness, like people say all the time, it's never really about skincare or nutrition or anything else. It's a personal development business, right? It's who
100%,
you
100%. And heaven forbid you try to make it that instead of about the business because the company gonna come for you.
but I mean, like, honestly, like that, I wouldn't be who I am today if I hadn't gone through this monumental journey in an attempt to grow that business first. Like that was just, I fell into network marketing. For 3 years, I literally struggled. I like so many people will be able to relate to this. I spent 3 years like, why can I not do this? Like, why? Like, I'm a smart person. Why is this so difficult? And then I realized that I had the strategy down. Like, everybody had the strategy. It was very, very simple. But what I didn't know is that it was who I was being and how I was showing up in the world that was ultimately delivering my results. And I had this like moment, like this epiphany moment where I was like, something has to change. And you know what? It's me. And that is really where then I went on to grow my business into the top 3% of the company worldwide. And then a few years later pivoted into coaching because the bit I realized I really loved about network marketing was really the personal growth, right? Seeing somebody come in, seeing so much power and
Have you
potential
read a
inside of
musical
them.
about network marketing? Because I think we should
I
write
mean,
a
I
network.
feel like we should.
I think we should.
It would be hilarious. It would be so much fun. Oh my god, it'd be just crazy. But I think like that was the route that I kind of came into the coaching world through, just because I just had this moment where I was like, I see all these powerful, amazing women who are just the thing that's holding them back in life, in business, is not stepping right. It's in here, like not stepping into who they are, not believing in themselves, not trusting themselves. And for me, when I realized that that was the piece that was missing for me, went through my own radical transformation, I was like, I want to help other people do it too. And that became, you know, my thing.
Two questions, one superficial one, and then one really deep, powerful one. The first one is, because I am a huge musical theater geek. What's your favorite musical and why?
Oh my God, you want me to pick one? I literally like, how do I pick one? How do I pick one? So I love contrast. So I love something with like a really powerful songs, like something like Wicked. I love Wicked.
So do you feel like you're talking to Adina like right now? Like,
I literally was about, like, as I say this, it's like I am definitely speaking to Adina. Totally. So Wicked is like one of my
tell you that story later.
Yeah, I want to know it all. So Wicked is one of my absolute faves. But I also love some of the older school ones. Like my first musical that I ever saw was Phantom of the Opera. And I loved that. I love a bit of Les Mis. I also, oh my God, I really saw Six recently and I loved it.
Oh my God, Six is so good. Do you like the West End cast or are you liking the traveling cast? Because honestly, it's the West End cast for me. Like it has to have that little bit of Cockney, like that little like extra. I know, I'm sorry, I'm American. You're just gonna have to deal with it. But like I freaking love that version. Like, and Millie, what's her name? The one that does it on I forget her name, the girl that plays Anne Boleyn. Oh my gosh, so good. So yes, Six, check. Absolutely, I love Six.
So check. I mean, do you know what? So I saw it locally to me. So I'm Portsmouth in the UK. And I was like really surprised having heard like the soundtrack and then seeing it locally with the touring group. And one of the parts was played by a Scottish girl with a really Scottish accent. And I was like, what? This is amazing. And I really loved having that kind of like regional accent in there alongside like the Sherman accent as well. Yeah, it was fab. Totally random, but fab.
Oh my goodness, I love that so much. I promise we're gonna get to this in a second. I want to tell you my favorite musical is Aida. And I know a lot of people hate it because they're like, oh my gosh, it's not. But like, I'm sorry, every single song in that, every single one from beginning to end, and Heather Headley, I just bow down because Adam Pascal, obviously I'm a giant redhead, so like there's that, but like Heather Head, like what's that one song? I can't think of the one when she's like in the refugee camp. I can't think of the name of it, but the one when she's spinning around and whatever, and the one when she's talking to the gods, and like her voice in that is just next level. So Aida is definitely my fave. Rent, I definitely was a Renthead for a long time, like big Renthead, like big. So okay, I'm going to tell you my Adina story real quick. I went to see Rent in Boston, and when I went to see Rent, I had paper tickets and my ticket didn't scan. So I had to go see someone and they thought it was Adina and they tried to bring me to like a special section to watch it and people were freaking out. I was probably like 26, 27 at the time. And I'm like, oh, no. Like, no. But they actually thought that I was, I mean, which was crazy. And then in college, I got to have a independent study in musical theater. And I brought Anthony Rapp to school, who literally sat in the passenger seat of my car. Like, he's my Facebook friend. Like, go look, like we're still friends. Anyway, and I remember he was like, you look a lot like my friend Adina. And that was the moment for me. So anyway,
you're like owning that.
I know, none of that having to do anything with anything, except for the fact that I want to come back to this idea. Well, first of all, I mean, musical theater heroines, right? Like the power and the passion that comes through and the awareness of power that is able to be expressed in musical theater through females, you don't see that anywhere else. You don't see it in movies. You don't see it, in anywhere else. But in musical theater is the place where the feminine essence really gets to shine. So first that. Secondly, let's talk about MLMs, because I think this is an important segue into kind of what you do and what what we do. And what I want to know from you, Lorraine, is when you were in your multi-level marketing company, did you notice a little bit of dissonance or a little bit of friction when you would start to empower your team or empower people? Did you notice almost like a pullback on the part of the company when it became about their power as opposed to the mission of the company? Did you find anything there?
No, do you know what? I feel like I was really, really lucky. So with my company, I constantly felt like we were being empowered to empower other leaders. So that for me was never in question. And the only reason that I pivoted away from network marketing was that in 2020, I lost my dad to pancreatic cancer. And I think, yeah, it was. And I think when you have such a big, massive, life-changing experience like that, you just you sit back, if you're willing to go there, if you're willing to go and sit in that feeling and to really do the healing work in there, you start to look at your life and you start to examine things and go, what am I holding on to for fear of what will not take its place? Like, what am I persisting in when actually what I actually need to do is let go? And the reality is like I should have let go of my network marketing company probably about 18 months before I did. But I felt so much, I suppose I felt so attached to my team. And I'd been in network marketing for 9 years. Like, I'd been in there a long time. I'd built some incredible relationships. I'd always said, like, I'm going to be here forever. But the reality is I changed, and I realized that I no longer wanted, I kind of felt like I was hiding behind a brand rather than truly being myself and speaking my truth and doing what I was here to do. And I had this kind of this epiphany moment, as I say, when I lost my dad. And I asked my angels, and just one day I just kind of sat there and I was journaling away, and I'd asked like what is it that I'm meant to do? Like, what is it? And I've got pages and pages and pages of scrolling where it's like, it's time to let go now, right? You have to let go of this. And, I still love the company. I still use all of the products. I still have friends inside the company. And as I say, it is a beautiful, empowering space. It was no longer me. It was no longer a fit. And I think that's one of the most powerful things you can do as a leader and as a business owner, is being willing to let things crumble, being willing to let go of the stuff that you're clinging on to, and being like, I understand that stuff has to crumble and stuff has to break down in order for me to like rise from the ashes, right? The Phoenix epiphany, like the next level me can't be built on these foundations. She has to be built on a new foundation. So yeah. That was my experience.
It's amazing how much our experience is able to inform our work as coaches. And correct me if I'm wrong, are you a manifester? Is that what you told me?
I am a manifester. Yeah. Human design manifestors.
Yeah. I have quite a few clients who are manifestors. As a manifester, there's such an energy of power in a world where, me as a generator, right? The world is set up for you to be a worker, to work hard, not to innovate, not to create, not to start from. And to be able to figure that out for yourself and really, embody that is so magnetic to people who are trying to create their own lives and their own businesses. And I think that's one of the reasons why you've been so successful, if I do say so myself, because you really, you stand in that power, but you invite people, which is interesting because being a manifestor, you would think you would have a repelling aura, but it's like, you didn't get that memo because you don't have a repelling aura.
Do you know what? I love to add on this because I like to say, in the UK, I talk about being like Marmite, right? Because people are like, yes, I have to be in your world. I used to get messages. I remember one person literally saying, oh my God, I wish I could keep you in my top pocket. And I could literally, like, anytime I needed to talk to you, I could just like look down and you talk at me and like give me all your words of wisdom. I was like, that's hilarious. But I'm either like, people love me and want to be in my space and want to talk to me, or I make people really uncomfortable. So I think you, like, obviously, Amy, you and me fall into this camp where we're like, yeah, want to hang out, like, yes, I totally love this, but I'm not everyone's like cup of tea. And I think that what becomes really apparent as a manifestor, which is something I've really had to allow, is that I was built with, I was conditioned with this generator tendency. I did a lot of people pleasing, and I had very perfectionist tendencies. If I take you back, 2011, when I had my breakdown, like, I've had to uncondition all that, like decondition that, because the reality is I'm not here to people please. I'm here to create impact. I have massive things that I'm meant to be doing, and I get these beautiful, huge creative urges, and it's like I'm moving in this direction, and people are either coming with me or they're moving out of the way. And learning to be okay with that has taken me like such a long time, because yeah, when you're a child, it's that kind of conditioning of like, stay quiet, like be peaceful, like make friends with everybody, like. And when you actually start to really know yourself and understand how you operate on an energetic level and really live in that place from your personal power, you become truly magnetic for those people who are meant to be in your world, right? But completely repellent for the people who are not. And that is totally fine by me. It took me a long time to get there, but now I'm like, you're gonna either love me or you don't, and that's a fine either way.
Yeah, no, it's so true. Like, and that's, I think, that's a really great, thing to talk about, is like, let's talk about that for a minute for women, because we both work with women. You only work with women, right? I only work with women. Okay.
Mhm.
Just want to check, because I didn't know for sure. And then you'd be like, actually, half my clients are men. So, but in working with women, I think that there's a lot of pressure not to be too much. And my definition of too much is like, I posted too many times today. I sent too many emails. I showed up too many, I I think there's a lot of overthinking of taking up too much space as women.
Mm.
And it's interesting because, as a 5 line for me and as a manifestor for you, there's a power there that is meant to be seen. There's a power that's meant to be activating. And when we don't show up in that energy, and then that goes for all the types. Like, I'm not saying like, oh, I'm womp womp, I'm a 1-3, like, no. But when we hold back from self-expression, we're actually robbing the world of the transformation that we're here to create. So what I would love to know from you, because you've worked with lots of clients, I've worked with lots of clients, what do you feel, if you had to sum it up, what do you really think holds women back from truly expressing their whole selves in their work, in their lives, in their message?
Yeah, and I think really it comes back to, for me, is that the core foundational like building blocks that you learned from a very young age. And I want to say, I truly believe that it's not just like learned conditioning in this lifetime. There are things from previous past lives, generational lessons, there are ancestral traumas and things there to heal. But ultimately, if we understand that our conditioning was in place by the time we're 7, for example, I see so many people playing in the world based on how they were taught to behave in relation to their parents, for example, right? Like, if how you were expected to behave in relation to your mum, how they expected you to behave in relation to your siblings, like. And what's happening is people are showing up in the world from this space of, oh, like, I don't want to upset anybody, or I don't want to offend anyone, or I don't want to rock the boat, because of that deeply embedded conditioning. And actually, we don't, and I talk about this a lot, like, you don't know yourself when you're showing up like that, when you're showing up from this space of, I don't want to rock the boat, I don't want to, it's because you don't know who you truly are, because you're living in other people's expectations.
Right.
So if we understand that the first layer of this is really true, deep self-awareness and getting to know yourself, then you'll start to recognize things. Like I did a post the other day. I'm wearing a pink dress today, by the way. So I recently had my new branding photos, and I've got this beautiful pink dress I'm wearing. And I remember as a child, like my mum didn't like the color pink. And I grew up my whole life like wearing blue and wearing black and wearing white and wearing brown. Definitely not my color.
Not
And
about
like wearing, right, but wearing colors that were like not to stand out. Like I was not there to stand out. And I had this moment where I was like, excuse language, but I love pink, right? I love it. I actually love it. And I
it
look
looks really good with
amazing
your
in it.
skin tone too. You have beautiful pink undertones, so it like pulls you all together, and those beautiful blue eyes. Like, oh, being robbed of pink is a tragedy for you.
I know, right? So I just like, and I wrote posts about it because for such a long time in my life, it seems like a really like a superficial thing, but I wouldn't wear pink because of that conditioning that I had. So if that's something that I was not wearing because I believed I couldn't, how else was I showing up in the world in ways that weren't true to who I was? And that's what I see happening is people shrinking back. Yeah, too muchness. When you mentioned that, like it's a topic I'm really passionate about. I'm actually doing a talk about it next week, like the playground of growth, like playing in your too muchness, because you will never be too much for the come play. It's like you can never be too much for the right people.
Right.
And when you step into your too muchness, when
Yeah.
you really lean into the edges of who you are here to be and the light that you're meant to bring to the world, it's going to have such a massive ripple effect, not only on your life, but on, you know, everybody's lives that you're touching. Like it's like you're doing yourself a huge disservice when you don't. But ultimately, if I look at it, and people say to me, you know, sometimes a client, a typical conversation I'll have with the client is like, I don't feel seen or heard or valued. And it's like, yeah, because you're not seeing, hearing, and valuing yourself first and foremost. So
Yeah.
as
I
you
mean,
start to do that,
that's the crux of what I do too, you know, like when we talk about energetics,
right,
it's like you're not seeing it out here, then you're not seeing it in here. Um,
right,
something that you just said that really hit home for me, you mentioned when you're, and I'm going to butcher it, but you mentioned when you're showing up and you're not sure, something about like showing up and not feeling like it's okay to show up that way. I don't know. It made sense at the time. We can rewind it. But this idea of, oh, not knowing who you are when you don't know who you are. And that really was powerful because I was thinking like, gosh, if you don't know what it's supposed to look like, you ever done a puzzle and you don't have the box and you're trying to figure out, I mean, and some people do those kind of puzzles. I don't, but like you don't know where the pieces go because you don't have the model. So it makes so much sense. And please put this all over your content because this is totally your idea. Like when you don't know what the true self is, there's no picture to model yourself against. So everything you're creating may or may not be aligned, and you never get to ground in to the this is me-ness of that because there's a part of you that feels like you're playing and experimenting because you don't know what it is. So when you really, sorry if I'm yelling at you guys, when you really get to know what the picture is supposed to look like and really ground into this is who I am, that's where the rejection or the approval doesn't matter anymore because what you're actually punishing yourself for is this inauthentic. It's not that you care if they like it or not. It's that you care if you're misrepresenting yourself or not, which you won't know unless you know who you are. Did that make sense?
oh my God, it makes so much freaking sense. 100%. It's that knowing the truth of who you are. Knowing the truth of who you are. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Let's just take a moment for that wisdom that just dropped between us. Powerful. Yeah. So it's about really getting to know yourself and what is you and what isn't you. What is conditioning, like you said, I'm not allowed to wear these colors. My mom used to always say to me, less is more, less is more, so I'd be like, okay, I guess I said too many words. Meanwhile, you're over here flapping your jaw and it's fine, but love you, mom. Love you. Mwah. Love you. But yeah, I mean, we're gonna need to edit that out. She won't watch it. Does she watch this? Powerful stuff, Lorraine. So obviously, I'm obsessed with you in all the ways. How do people get a hold of you? How do they work with you? How do they get more of this Lorraine juiciness? Tell us all the things.
All the things. Okay, so the best way to come and play in my world. Firstly, my hangout is Facebook. I sometimes think I am so old school. I love the Facebook. So come and find me. Literally, my main profile on Facebook is L Davies VP. That's the best place to come and find me and to come and revel in my world. But the best thing to do is if you're like Lorraine feels like a really good fit for me, and I truly believe your intuition is already telling you. So listen to that gut instinct, right? Yeah, because it freaking knows if I'm a good fit for you. The best thing to do is to book a call with me. I'll make sure that Amy's got the link. Pop into my diary and we can just have a chat and just see like what is your vision for the future, what is holding you back, and whether I'm the right fit to help you really like expand into everything you're here for, because that's my jam. Like if you're ready for your expansion era, come play my world.
Oh my gosh, you guys, if your toes curled, you are not alone because she does that. The power that runs through this human being is like mind-blowing to me. And she is, like I said, she's just the sweetest, kindest, most wonderful creature. So definitely get to know her. Lorraine, it has been such a pleasure having you on the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, you're honestly so welcome. I love our conversations. They are so delicious always. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And you guys, that'll do it for another episode of The Magnetic Goddess, although I don't know how we're going to top that one. Until next time, may you be happy, may you be healthy, may you be safe, and may you be at peace.